everybody. Okay, so yesterday we took an equation. Both of them were linear, meaning they're going to make straight lines. We took it from standard form and turned it into slope-intercept form, which we are used to. Now today we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to take it from slope-intercept form, which we are most used to, and turning it into standard form. Okay, so here is how that's going to look. So this is the same slide as yesterday, but you'll notice that the arrow is now going the opposite direction. So we're going to take it from what we are most used to into this ax plus by equals c. Now, a couple reminders, a, b, and c are just numbers, okay? They're constants. Now, one thing really important when we go to swap it into standard form is that we think A plus is what we want. A positive. A has to be positive. So that'll kind of be a last thing we always have to check. So if we look at this next slide here, we will notice that I have the notes here to the right. I also made a PDF of this so you can use it for your exit questions and your worksheet if you choose to do the optional worksheet. Okay, so step one, you'll notice our line, y equals 3x minus 2. Now, normally we did the converting first, but because slope-intercept form is so nice, and I can see where the slope is and the y-intercept is, I should go answer those questions down here first. So looking at my slope, which is the number always in front of the x, and I'm going to just kind of highlight it for you here. Here is our slope, okay? So if I slide away this green box, my slope is 3. It's really easy to tell the slope in this form, so that's why I should answer this question first. Now, it's also very easy to see what the y-intercept is. The y-intercept is always that number that is floating on the outside. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative, okay? So right there I have a -2 as my y-intercept. So I actually could also very easily find the x-intercept where y is 0 in this form. So I recommend that we do that. And now remember, I apologize, my handwriting's not going to be awesome on this. We've got, instead of y, we're going to put 0, okay? And I am solving for, this is so hard to do, for x. So it's the 2-step, okay? So first thing I need to do to get that x by itself is get rid of the fluff by adding to both sides. Bye. Now we are left with 2 on this side, and on the other side have just 3x. That's 3 times x, so to undo multiplication, I must divide both sides by 3. Canceling out, x is now by itself, so this is going to be my x-intercept, and it is 2/3. I could leave it as a fraction or turn it into a decimal. That doesn't matter. There it is. So we actually answered all 3 of those questions before we even turned it into standard form. That is our last thing to do. So now we can look at this red note here. And I'm wondering if I can zoom in a little bit. Oh well. So step 1, you'll notice if we think of standard form that ax and by, so x and y have to be on the same side. So I need to move this 3x over to join that y so they can be on the same side. Now, sometimes we will add 3x if it had been negative, or we could subtract 3x. We have to do the inverse or the opposite because we are moving, okay? So in this case, opposite of positive 3x is minus 3x. So I need to minus 3x from both sides. That'll move it away from this side and bring it to the other side. So this next step, I'm just rewriting it. So now I have a negative 3x. There's nothing written here, so it's a plus y equals, I just bring down the negative 2. Make sure you don't lose that negative. Velcro it, okay? Now, if we look at step 2, my x and y are on the same side. So sometimes you'll be done, but I have to look. I need to make sure the coefficient or the number in front of the x is positive. So if we look here, let me get my highlighter out. I'm looking, is this number here positive? If it's not, we have to fix it. Otherwise, it's not in proper form. How do we fix it? Because it's not. It's actually a really easy step, but you need to make sure you follow the rules. So you have to multiply everything on both sides by a negative 1. If you only multiplied it on the left side, the equation becomes unbalanced and the line actually changes. So we have to multiply every single thing by negative 1, okay? I note that you can see here, but just putting a negative 1 on the outside and just hugging everything in a parenthesis. So I know I'm going to distribute that negative 1 to everything, okay? Really what you're doing here, and you'll notice, is that you're flipping all of the signs. If it was positive, it's going to be negative. If it was negative, it's going to be positive. So let's look. It was negative here. A negative 1 times a negative 3 becomes a positive 3. Negative 1 times a positive 1 becomes a negative. Negative 1 times negative 2 becomes a positive 2. So if we look here, was negative, now positive. Was positive, now negative. Was negative, now positive. So the shortcut would be you're just flipping all the signs, but really you do that by multiplying everything by negative 1. So then let's look. AX plus BY equals C. Now, does B have to be positive? Nope. So this is kind of looking like AX minus BY. That's okay. Only A has to be positive. So this is now, dun, 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 our final answer in standard form. Okay, so again, the worksheets are not required, but I think they could be very helpful today. Again, doing slope, y-intercept, and x-intercept first would be smart because you already can easily see them. Then do your standard form last. I will give you a little warning. This one, technically, part D, is not in slope-intercept form right now. So you would actually probably want to move the y to join the x. That's kind of a challenge problem. That's more of what you're actually going to see in high school. So if you want to skip D, that's okay. The only required part are the 3 Schoology questions. They are just exit questions, just so you can see how you're doing with conversions. Remember, the first attempt is just for you to practice. That second one, you could try it again and it'll give you that feedback with the correct answers. Okay, you guys are awesome. Happy Friday. Have a really good weekend. Take some time away and just relax. Remember, today is the due date for the last 2 weeks worth of stuff. So I'm kind of giving you 2 weeks to get it all in. If you have any questions about it, email, Zoom, Google Hangout. Okay, see you guys later.